Hi, I'm Monica. I'm from Giurgiu, Romania. I'm a teacher of English, but at the same time a trainer for the Teachers Resource Center, and I'm going to present today some games that we use in schools. The first game I'm presenting, it's called Nute supăra frate. It's the Romanian for Don't Be Upset Brother. The game is used for developing counting skills and color awareness, but it also encourages communication among the players and develops attitude and concentration. For the game, there is a very simple board. That's the dice, and there are 4 groups of 4 colored pawns. The procedure is put the colored pawns on the red, yellow, green, blue circles according to color, and then roll the dice. Each player is entitled to 3 rolls of the dice. The first who has 6 points will start the game. So, the first one puts the pawn and starts moving according to the number of it. It can advance, and then another color starts and advances according to the dice, and if the number corresponds to a taken circle, it kicks out the other one. So the yellow one, for example, will have to start the game again from the beginning. The rule of the game is to go all round the board and place all your 4 pawns on the yellow circles on the board. In this game, teacher has to give clear instructions. For example, count out loud, stick to your color, start from the beginning, or start from square one, move ahead 4, move ahead 5 or 6 squares. Be nice to your opponents. Talk to each other. At the same time, the game encourages communication between the players because they will use phrases like, for example, when choosing, I choose red, or I choose blue, or I choose yellow. They can communicate by using phrases like, it's your turn, or out, or sorry, I kicked you out, or if a person goes left instead of right, mind your way. If a person puts the first pawn on the first final button, you're lucky. If you're kicked out, don't mind. And something that the children like, back to square one, start again. This is the game. Okay, the second game is a grammar game in which the students have to use the correct determiner. There is a pack with possible determiners, but countables, uncountables, countables, and uncountables. The students are split in teams. Each of them gets a sort of board on which the noun phrases are highlighted. They have to read carefully and decide if they take from the countable box, the uncountable box or the countable and uncountable. They will read the sentences and then decide which of the two in the box will be used. Will it be used in a sentence like the bee is an insect which makes honey, or the bee is an insect that makes honey? Definitely they will choose an. And so on. Each correct sentence values 1 point. At the end, the student with the most, or the group with the most points, is the winner. Another game, it's Guess My Job. It is a card game, and the game comes in a pack which is connected and has 2 slots in it. Each of the slots reveals something about the job on the card. There are 2 players. The aim of the game is to find out the names and characteristics of jobs. But there is also an aim of communication, asking questions, usually simple questions with yes or no answers, or other special questions. The game is played in this way. One player shows the other player a picture, a hidden picture. He can ask, "What's this?" and get an answer. Move to the second slot and say, "What's his job?" He has to think about this hint and this face and guess the job. Each player is entitled to 3 guesses. If he guesses, he may ask for the next round. Change the card, put the lead on, and then start all over again. For example, this is sort of hammer. This shows a person wearing a wig. The question for this first one, what's this? It's a hammer. What do you think his job is? Looking at the wig, he will probably decide that he's the judge. Then I can uncover and see that, right, it's the judge. Again, the person who gets more correct answers is the winner of the game. The most important fact about this card game is the fact that the pictures are actually cartoons, which the students enjoy very much. So they will learn the name of the job, the name of the object characteristic, but at the same time have fun because of the cartoon on it. Another game is called Piticot. It's a Romanian name for a game which is called the treasure hunt. Its main aim is answering questions or requests about characters in fairy tales around the world, which the students have heard so far. But it's also for practicing numbers and reacting to rules. The game is composed of a board with numbers on it and challenges, not at every number, dice, pawns, and cards with questions. The first step is rolling the dice, putting on the pawn, and then moving according to the numbers on the dice. There are some squares where if you get, you have to either do a penalty or move forward. But before it, once the pawn is on such a square, there's a question or two. The question reads, the character is Aladdin. What did Aladdin find in the robber's cave? And the second question, what can he do with it? So, if these questions are answered, then you can do the forward moving that you are supposed to do. Sometimes, if you don't know the answer, then you don't go forward. The end of the game is number 72, which is the treasure. Once you have gone all through the game and answered all the questions correctly, you are the winner of the game. If you get to the end but failed questions, the game will go on until the one who had answered more questions will get to the final point. Another game is called Pakalich. It aims reinforcing, learning, or practicing vocabulary connected with nationalities, clothes, and objects. There are 42 cards with pictures of a man and a woman dressed in a traditional costume, national costume, for each of the countries. There is, however, the 43rd card, which is called Pakalich. He's a clown. He is very important at the end of each game. You have the pack of cards, you shuffle them, and you deal 4 cards to each of the players. The rest stay upside down on the table. The person looks at the cards and notices if he or she can match and put the pair on the table. If it isn't possible, then he has to draw another card. And he has to draw another card and another card until the moment when the person first succeeds in making a pair. If the pair is done, he puts the pair on the table and he has to say what nationality they are, in this case Polish, what is the name for the symbol, hat, and describe in detail the clothing. For example, the man is wearing a blue jacket, white trousers, boots, and a blue hat on his head. The woman is wearing a white blouse, a red skirt, a white apron, and she has boots. In this way, he or she completed describing the picture. For more advanced students, you can add color, you can add patterns on the clothes, and in this way, the teacher can check word order in case of more adjectives. The winner is the person who has the most pairs, and the loser is the person who stays with the only spare card, that is the Pakalich. Scrabble is another game. It is famous all over the world, and its main aim is to improve the spelling and at the same time the reading and enlarging vocabulary. But it's also a game of attention and concentration, because there is a series of rules that cannot be used, of words that cannot be used, especially those words with an ending, those words which are not English, and so the students have to be aware of what and how much they are allowed to use. The game is made up of a board, 4 stands, and 100 tiles. Each tile contains a letter and a number of points, the letter values. It's easy to play because each of the players is given 7 tiles, which he places on the stand. The player who has letter A, or a letter closest to A, B, or C, starts the game. The players look on the stand and they put that letter on the star and start building up the word. If they already have a word on the stands, they place it on the board. The rest of the players have to build up their words on the structure done by the first one. Scrabble is a very interesting game. Children like it because they can show how many words they know in English. But in class, this game is usually for maximum 10 words, simply because it's time-consuming, which means the person who has completed 10 words will say, "Stop the game." Points will be counted. Each of them adds up the numbers existing, the number of points existing on the tiles, and the winner is the person with the most points and obviously the most words built up.